here, but I'll just speak very loudly. So, good afternoon, or good evening now, family and friends.
Hello.
There's always one. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Mark Pennicott, and I'm the father of the bride. And I'd like to welcome everyone here to this special occasion where we celebrate the marriage of Alice and Mitch. So, standing here today, I'm really stoked and so happy for you, and I can't put into words what today means. But I'd like to take the rest of you all back to the beginning for Alice. Oh, I haven't got there yet.
We're ready.
So, we're talking about January 1993. Whitney Houston, #1 in the charts with I Will Always Love You. John Major was Prime Minister. And the PlayStation didn't even exist.
Good Lord!
Alice couldn't wait to join that world, and quite a few weeks prematurely arrived at St John's Hospital.
Impatient.
There may be a theme here. Where she was taken immediately to the neonatal care unit and placed in an incubator. There, she remained with her mother for longer than I care to remember, but she fought through and eventually was well enough to bring home. The only visible sign being a total lack of hair for the first few years. Certainly something you wouldn't know looking at her today as radiant as she is. Whilst Alice's arrival was quite a stressful time for both mother and father and daughter, one of the greatest advantages of being a parent is that we get to experience childhood again through our own child's lives. Those early years with Alice were really quite magical, and I will always hold close those memories of those times. You discovering your first words with the sheep in the Highlands of Scotland. Reading We're Going on a Bear Hunt, or Guess How Much I Love You, over and over. Always with Rabbit at her side, her constant childhood companion. Birthday parties for magicians and bouncy castles. And then when you were older, the movie nights with your brother and trips to the cinema to watch the books you were reading translated to the big screen. Which, thanks to J.K. Rowling, meant there was plenty of books and plenty of films. So all that reading might have had an impact on her choice of studying English at Brighton University. And yet more new friends.
Yay!
Moving house every year thanks to the always on call mum and dad taxi service. However, although I was there on a number of occasions, all I'm allowed to say is whatever happened in Brighton stays in It was during that time when, on one of the many visits back home, Alice met Mitch. So when your daughter tells you she's met someone at a neighbour's party, you're never quite sure how things are going to work out. But it was quite obvious from the start that they made each other happy. The distance between them wasn't a problem. A local family-run taxi service was always available. Despite supporting the wrong football team, Mitch already seems part of the family, as I've already helped them move twice. He knows his own way to the beer fridge, as far as my tools, doesn't return. He always has second helpings at the dinner table, but makes sure to bring enough food to fill that table. In all seriousness, having known Mitch for a number of years now, he's never let me down where I've asked for his help or assistance, and I'm sure many of you here feel the same. But more importantly, I know Alice's love and respect for him has grown over the years as their relationship has developed. Which brings us to today and the celebration of your love and marriage. Alice? Sorry. You created a joy in my life that I didn't know existed until you were born. I've treasured all our time together and hope that you bring that same joy into your life with Mitch. Your mother and I both love you to the moon. To you both, I say, hold each other close and enjoy every single moment together. So, if everyone could please raise your glass and toast the bride and groom. Cheers!
Are you shocked? Sorry.
So, now I
You're so good.
best men.
We are following that one. Just as a disclaimer before we begin, my friend here has lost his voice today, so he's going to try and power through, but if it fails, I might just have to work him like a puppet tonight. So we'll see how things go.
Go on, Pete.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Stop pretending!
So, for those that don't know us, my name is Pete, and this is Dan, and we've had the pleasure of knowing Mitch now for a collective 50 years. Doesn't he look good for his age? We are genuinely honoured to have been asked to be the best man.
And we would like to thank everyone for coming today. First and foremost, can we have a toast to the happy couple? No, not Pete and me. Can we also raise your glasses? No, not those glasses. And a toast to all those who couldn't be here today. Those close to everyone here who are sadly no longer with us. Those who are perhaps too far away to make it. And also the unfortunate schmucks who weren't invited. One final special mention, no toasts, to the host of May the Films Be With You. Thank you celebrities for coming in. Chris and Callum, who are the ushers for today, we'd like to thank you for your involvement in helping out. Take well, please bring the podcast back.
So, if you can't hear us from the back, in particularly now me, as it turns out, the silence from the people at the front should reassure you that you really aren't missing anything. Alice, you do look absolutely fantastic today. And Mitch, you could have had a haircut, mate. Seems like, fortunately, despite our involvement today, everything has gone off without a hitch. And we couldn't be happier. Congratulations.
One thing I would like to say is, Mitch, how lucky you are. You'll leave today with a wife who is warm, loving and caring. And Alice, you're lucky too. You'll leave here today having had a lovely day and a lovely place. A special shout out to the bridesmaids. You all look wonderful today. And thank you so much for supporting Alice on her big day.
You're welcome. Yeah. Very welcome.
And thank you to Alice's father for that wonderful speech just now. So the people we've been waiting for. The reason why Mitch is about to slump in his chair a bit. The embarrassing life stories. We've known Mitch for most of his life and met each other in the first year of primary school. We quickly formed a friendship due to our mutual love of computer games, really stupid inside jokes, and just generally being idiots together. We would often beg our parents to allow us to have sleepovers around each other's houses, and somehow Mitch managed to be the only one of us to have a bunk bed despite being an only child. He has a special way of words, that one. We spent many days as children running around the playground, pretending to be in a Final Fantasy game, or playing Kiss Chase together with Colette. It was also around this time that he reenacted the opening scenes of The Lion King with his cat at the top of the stairs. And in testing his theory that they always land on their feet, but not always they do not.
As we moved through secondary school, the three of us always remained close, despite moving classes and all taking different subjects. He'd always been the brightest of the three of us, even if he sometimes doesn't look it, staring vacantly into the distance. I must say, that certainly doesn't reflect well on us. Given the stories we're about to tell.
Like the time that Mitch walked 20 minutes to town on a particularly heavy New Year's Eve, without his shoes, only to have a nap in the pub.
Or the lovely time he spent 2 hours outside Chelmsford train station in a t-shirt in December, explaining to me how certain he was that he wanted to ask Alice to marry him. And that was before he developed bronchitis.
And also how the last few times we've been together, there's been an extensive singing and dancing rendition of Greatest Showman.
Oh, Mitch, give us a line.
Painfully, I think we finally killed that obsession during a stag do. For those unaware, he was dressed up in the Hugh Jackman outfit from the hit musical throughout the weekend. This included pub trips, hikes in the Peak District, and an impromptu Sunday night out in Sheffield. What we're saying is that no matter if Mitch is vanishing on nights out and sleeping in the garden, getting lost in Derby, crawling through houses and getting wrestled out of showers, or just generally staring vacantly into the distance. Everyone here most likely has a story involving Mitch they think back to fondly. He's a dependable friend to everyone in his circles, and nobody goes too long without having a laugh when in his company.
So while it's obvious he's made some very questionable decisions, maybe even stupid, in his youth, it is clear today that he made one very smart, sensible decision. And it's not his decision to invest in cryptocurrency early on.
I'm in the green room.
It was his decision to go out with and eventually propose to Alice. Alice, we both liked you from when we first met you. You're kind, you're smart, you're caring. And you make Mitch happy in a way that neither of us could. drunk. And yet he remained charming enough to convince Alice to spend most of an evening with him. They continued to spend the days together, and this quickly blossomed into the relationship that brought all of us here together.
When Mitch got engaged, we could not have been happier. The story he told us about how it happened is one of my favourite things ever. Mitch, being the old romantic he is, waited for Alice to go out, filled his living room full of candles, sat patiently, ring in pocket, waiting for her to walk through the door and pop the question. As romantic as his plan was, he did not expect her to go out to pick Alice up. And Mitch, being Mitch, decided he didn't want to blow out the candles. He shot the cats out of the room, raced to pick up Alice, and brought her home. On arrival, Alice was not expecting any of this and proceeded to look around the room that Mitch had so lovingly laid out for her, completely oblivious to Mitch, shuffling on one knee behind her, waiting for her to turn around and pop the question. Of course, when Alice did turn around, she was totally left speechless, and after a nudge from Mitch, she happily said yes, and the rest is history. They've already had an amazing journey together, first sharing a room at the Kingfisher household, followed by a nice start home in Melbourne that was the host of many terrific barbecues and parties. They were joined by their 2 children, Sydney and Diego, and have recently moved into their long-term home in Colchester, which I'm sure will continue to be the epicentre of good times and bonding. Okay.
You did. That's probably a good shot.
Yeah.
So we do joke at the daft things that you've done, but to wrap things up and to get a little bit more serious, Mitch hasn't been dealt the easiest hand in life. But when we've needed him, he has always been there for us. Thanks, man. He's got so many good qualities. He's not quick to judge. If he can help with something, he will. And when you're down, he'll do whatever he can to pick you back up. I genuinely cannot imagine my life. It's the bad throat. I genuinely cannot imagine my life to this point without him, and feel privileged to be up here with Dan, talking about the brother that I never had. This story, man. He's been the best mate that we could ask for, and we are very, very fortunate to have you in our lives.
Now, whilst Mitch is a walking story generator, and I could list his good qualities for hours, it's time to talk about his lovely bride today, Alice. I think my favourite quality about Alice is that she has this amazing knack for bringing people together. And she's blessed to be friends with the good people in this room. I know for a fact that many of the friendships in this room exist only because Alice was the catalyst of those friendships. And Alice herself is an integral part to all of those friendships. I think it's safe to say that everyone's lives are improved by having Mitch and Alice involved in them in one way or another. So finally, please be upstanding and raise a glass to the true happy couple. Mitch and Alice, we all wish you the best of happiness in the world. Cheers. Cheers.